Hey, let's pretend to be psychoanalysts and do a deep dive into the minds to discover the fierce intellect behind Jeet Kune. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods of Jeet Kune Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 347. This is the one about deep inside the Jeet Kune mind. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcasts. All right, so most people, if I would say if they're not into martial art, they think of Bruce Lee mainly as a martial art icon. They know and a film star, right? And he's less commonly recognized for what you could call his profound intellectual foundation. Um, it's not just his physical skill, I would say, but his mind could also be considered one of his greatest weapons. And because of things like his willingness to look beyond traditional martial art, to challenge conventions and to redefine combat philosophies. He didn't, to the best of my knowledge, he didn't have an example of that to follow. It's almost like that was something that he came up with on his own. As excuse me, I still have this bad cough. As Bruce Lee's premier disciple, Inosanto now, he not only inherited that legacy, that rebelliousness, but in my opinion, he contributed his own analytical approach to the art. And so being perhaps more steeped in the tradition than Bruce Lee was, and maybe even being less willing to give up the tradition as Bruce Lee was, Inosanto still went ahead and blended his respect for that tradition with Bruce Lee's innovative spirit. All right, so what can we come up with if we take a look at these two mentalities? Now, I know, and you know too, that Bruce Lee never said absorb what is useful. Okay, so that's right. But if you stop to think about it, it perfectly fits his approach, since his was not just an absorb what is useful. It's not just a tactical approach to martial art, but it is also a profound life philosophy. Why do you think Bruce Lee was such a voracious reader? Why did Bruce Lee have 2,500 books in his personal library? Just fun? Why was he such could you use the word voracious for taking notes? No, not voracious. Somebody tell me what the word is, right? But we know he was a very avid note taker. So if he was not applying the principle of absorb what is useful, why would he engage in those activities? So that's why we say that his approach to learning with an open mind, or as my good friend G. Anthony would say, an active mind, right? Seeking to understand the nature of combat is akin to seeking to understand the nature of life itself. And he did it through different, or to use a PC word, diverse perspectives. Now, Inosanto, on the other hand, may not have amassed an equal amount of books, right, as did Bruce Lee, but there's no doubt in that they're both known for their respective creative genius and for their ability to synthesize various martial arts and various martial arts teachings, right? So after Bruce Lee's unfortunate premature death, Inosanto brought, now this is me, the Inosanto student, saying this. Inosanto brought his analytical mind to Jeet Kune, and he sought to illustrate through the use of multiple martial arts systems the commonality or the connecting thread which runs through those many different systems. So to me, this is Inosanto attempting to portray the teaching, and I talked about this just a few minutes ago on Facebook, that to portray the teaching that JKD is a process and not a product. Bruce Lee's approach to combat, and tell me if whether or not you agree with this. I think his approach to combat was intensely psychological, um, rooted in the belief that martial art is as much about cultivating the mind as it is about training the body. And I would say that he believed that the mind is the ultimate weapon, which is why, when you look at some of Bruce Lee's quotes, maybe not the best known, some of the best known, but there's one I found that says that Bruce Lee said, and again, yes, I know it might not be original, right? But he said the spirit of the individual is determined by his dominating thought habits, right? So yeah, that could very easily come from, um, like the power of positive thinking, or something like that, right? But I think it underscores the fact that Bruce Lee believed that physical prowess was perhaps secondary to the strength of your character and the strength of your spirit. Now, Inosano's approach to combat is also intensely physical. However, it is much more understated in its physicality than Bruce Lee's approach. But if you listen carefully to what Inosano says, you'll realize that he emphasizes as well the importance of mindset in Jeet Kune Do. When you hear him with his sports analogies, the football stuff and the baseball stuff and whatever, very often he's indicating the mental toughness that is required to be successful in this art. So, like Bruce Lee, Inosano, Bruce Lee and Dan Inosano both see JKD as a means of self-expression, a means of self-discovery, which means what? That requires you to honestly confront your strengths and your weaknesses. So see, that's what can lead you to investigate another system. So yeah, you might be well versed and proficient and deep into JKD and what have you, but it's automatic for some of us in JKD that leads to an investigation of another system. Mental flexibility, possessing the mental flexibility, I should say, to let go of preconceived notions, to even let go of the things that you have been doing for a long time that you thought were, what do they call it, the bee's knees, and then you discover there's somebody else out there in another system that has a way of training it that can really enhance what you've been doing. That mental flexibility and the ability also to absorb lessons from different sources, I would say that was essential to both Bruce Lee and Dan Inosano. So a defining characteristic for them of Jeet Kune Do is personal expression. Well, okay, so what does personal expression require? Again, to me, it is a concept that demands a certain intellectual openness, right? Again, G. Anthony and Mark Stewart like to talk about don't have such an open mind that your brain falls out, right? And like I said before, G likes to talk about an active mind. But that is a willingness, right? It's a willingness to examine yourself and to seek to understand things like your motivations and your fears and your limitations and what have you. Bruce Lee, in the famous interview with Pierre Berton, right? What does he say? To me, ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself. So, if you were studying with Bruce Lee, a guy who believes that martial art is about honestly expressing yourself, then in that era, a lot of those guys were being asked to abandon the rigid structures of the traditional arts in which they had been groomed, right? And to embrace this idea of finding freedom through experimentation and, dare I say, like self-reflection. So that's Bruce Lee. I think Inosano carried that tradition on to a T, even if he did it in his own way. I think his teaching methods reflect that philosophy, and that's why he explored multiple martial arts way more so than Bruce Lee did, and took it to a different level because people came to Bruce Lee to train him. Bruce Lee never went to anybody to train. Inosano is well known for packing up in the car and going to private lessons, all over Los Angeles with different people. And he encourages his students to do the same thing. And I think that is how he reminds people that individuals are unique, that no single art, no single technique is universally effective. Um, I've never heard, and I don't think I've ever heard Inosano talk about being like water, right? But I think if he did, it would make sense. Anyhow, right? So okay, so to really go deep into understanding or studying and understanding Jeet Kune, it would require perhaps, dare I say, the most important quality, which is to be able to set aside one's ego, right? Bruce Lee said something like martial art, all knowledge in martial art is ultimately self knowledge, right? It's how he emphasized that true mastery is about understanding your weaknesses as much as it is about understanding your strengths. Again, to me, and I'm biased, in closing, I would say that Inosano exemplifies this humility. Um, he could have cashed in, and some people will say that he did. He could have cashed in on the fame of being one of Bruce Lee's top guys, perhaps his number one, his premier disciple. But he chose to continue to learn and explore even after Bruce Lee passed away, right? Studying arts that maybe some other people had overlooked or what have you, right? And I think that for him, it's because the path of Jeet Kune Do isn't about becoming the best, right? Because what the heck is the best? But it is about becoming better each day, a continuous growth of self improvement, and that, in closing, that to me is the essential Jeet Kune Do mindset. Okay, so what say you? You guys let me know what you think in the comments below, and that's all I am going to say about this video. I hope I didn't get a chance to check, right? But I'm pretty sure that we were able to stream on the YouTube, because I won't have to go into the details about the computer and what have you again, right? But okay, so but I hope that we did make it over there. I know that Bucky is in Tallahassee or Jacksonville, so he's usually number one on the YouTube, but I know that he's on the road, so I'm not surprised that he didn't show up today. Anyhow, you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. That's all I'm going to say in this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods, at paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami, paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami. The Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1 is available. Bucky just showed up, right? Late into the game. But okay, but now I know that we definitely did make it onto the YouTube. So paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami, the raw but edited version of the Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1 is available. Go to titansofjkd.com for information on, actually, I'm gonna confess something to you. I was supposed to go and raise the price on this on November 1st, and I have not yet done so because I'm a busy guy. But I'm probably going to get to it by Sunday. So if you have plans and you want to still pay, I think it's $209 for both days of Titans, get to it before Sunday, because that's when I'm going to update the website. And along with the website, I will include, because I got the link from Ron Reagan, I will put the link for you. Now you won't have to book your hotel room through me. You can do it through through the hotel yourself. So titansofjkd.com for that information. I will not send you to jkdrebel.com because that website is undergoing somewhat of an overhaul. So that website is down and conceivably could be down until the new year. One of the things that I'm trying to do is to just be able to, in the new year, have an extensive array of what do you call it, merch, to use a word the cool kids use, right, in the new year. So jkdrebel.com will be down for a few weeks, and then we'll bring that back up with all that good stuff, right? Okay, so anyhow, I gotta start getting ready to head out to work. I do work, yes, right? So you guys let me know what you think, and we'll continue this conversation. I couldn't do the event thing for Friday's dialogue with Derek Fury. It's so funny. So I put up not the postcard, but just a picture of the postcard, right? And Paul Johnson in England goes, because I use Derek, the name of his school, which happens to be Axiom Jiu-Jitsu, right? And Paul Johnson goes, why does he train Jeet Kune? So I'm gonna go troll Paul in a few minutes and say that I've become so desperate for Jeet Kune conversations that now I'm reaching out to jiu-jitsu people. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel, signing off. You guys take care, and we'll talk on Friday. See ya.